So now we are going to talk about area. So what are we talking about when we speak about the area of a shape? What is an area, right? So the area is the amount of space inside a shape. For example, the floor of your house is the area of your house. The wall of your house is at the area of the wall, right? So it's the amount of space. So I made an example for the scholars saying that the floor that we are standing on is the area of our classroom, right? And if you look at your house, you have tiles on the floor. That whole space on the floor is the area of your house or your dining room or your kitchen, right? So area is used mostly when they install tiles, they measure for area. So you will see the person who will be installing the tiles making some measurements with a tape and then multiplying. So those measurements that are being made, it's to calculate the area of your space, to calculate the amount of space, right? Because if they're going to install tiles in your house, they need to know this amount of space that you have so that they can approximate how many tiles you are going to need, or also with your wall for painting. If the person who's painting your wall knows what they are doing, they are firstly going to measure the area they are going to paint, and then they can estimate the amount of paint that they are going to need for your house, so now, so let's look at this. For example, say this is the wall of your house, right? And you want to paint this area, and you have the side is 9 meters and the other side is 6 meters. And again, I left the measurements of these two sides because I'm assuming that you already know that if this is 6 meters, this is also 6 meters, because these sides are equal. So if this is 9 meters and this is also what, 9 meters, right? So how are you going to measure the area of your house in this instance? So what you're going to do when you measure area, you measure, it is, I forgot to write it here, it is length, I'm sorry, it is length times breadth. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm writing it in the wrong space. So when you measure area, you measure your length times breadth, and remember, with area you multiply. With area you multiply two sides. So you're gonna say length times breadth. So this is why here we're gonna say 6 times 9. Okay, 6 times 9, and then you're gonna write your answer there. Okay, now with a shape like this is a weird shape, and many students wonder, how do we measure the area of such a shape? So what you're gonna do is you have to break the shape apart, right? You have to break it apart, and then you measure the two sides separately, and then you add them together. Let me show you with this one. This is a very complex shape, right? So with this shape, you have to break it into measurable parts in order for you to measure the area. So in this side here, I have broken this shape so that it's easier for us to measure our area, right? I hope you can see. So the first part, I have labeled the first part A, because A has a length of 7 meters and a breadth of 3 meters. So A is 7 times 3, which gives us 21. B is 4 times 3, which gives us 12. C is 4 times 5, which is 20. D is 3 times 4, which is 12. So when you are done measuring the sides separately and multiplying them separately, you then add all of them together, and that is how we got the area of this weird looking figure here. So the area of this is 65 meter square. And another thing I need you to remember is that area is always in meter squares. Okay, right? So I intentionally left out the measurements of 1, 2 so that you can practice and do them on your own. I have given you the answer for this one because this is the most complex shape that scholars struggle with, and I need you to complete this activity for these two shapes.